Hey guys, so I'm finally back. Whew, I thought I'd never be able to make another video how crazy this semester was, but I'll be updating you guys on that as well. But I'm finally back with this how I study for nursing school video. Yes, I know it's been forever that I've been promising it to you guys, but I kind of wanted to try everything, make sure it worked for me at least before I give, you guys tips, and then next thing you know, I'm making a video like, yeah, I failed out. So, just wanted to make sure they actually worked. But I do have to say that this is stuff that I saw that works for me. There are a lot of people in my class that study way different from me, and it works for them. So, I mean, it depends on your learning style. So please don't get mad at me if it doesn't work for you. I'm just telling you guys what I have picked up throughout my experience. Um, just took 7 classes, 7 nursing school classes in one semester, which runs from August to December. I made it through, but like I said, I'll tell you guys more about that later. So, um, let's just jump right into it. So, tip one, if it's talked about in class, most likely it's very important. Like if they, not, let me not say if it's talked about, but if the teacher feels the need to, like, keep going about it, you need to write it down. Or at least like type it in your computer. Do whatever works for you, because some people don't like taking notes. I am like a big note taker. I sit there with the color pens, do everything a different color, color code my stuff. That's me. That doesn't have to be you. But if the teacher is giving it time, a considerable amount of time, highlight it on your PowerPoint, like write it down. You're gonna need it, because usually lecture like is just going over stuff you were supposed to read. So if they, spend a considerable amount of time on it, you're gonna see it on that exam. I've picked that up. Tip two: if your professor lets you, you should try to record the lectures. I noticed that like some days after them long nights of studying, I couldn't like really tune in class, but what worked for me is I would record the lectures. I mean, you do have to get teacher approval first, usually, but if your teacher's cool with it, go for it. I do it on my iPhone, so you don't like if you have an iPhone or Samsung, you can just do it on there. The note player, not note player, note recorder or something like that. They have an app for it. Or if you want to, you can go out and buy one of those little mini recorders. I don't see many people with them now, but go for it. They're really, really helpful for those days where you're like zoning, you know? Okay. Tip three: flashcards. Now this one I'm a little iffy about. If you're in an accelerated program like me, don't do flashcards. It's gonna just take up a whole bunch of time that you could have been focused on. Like you could have got more content read or more content reviewed in the time that you're sitting there trying to make flashcards, especially for pharmacology, because you'll notice that one drug will take you like 10 cards, and it's like it'll take hours and hours when you could have been focused on something else. Now, when it comes to traditional programs, if you have the time, go ahead and do it, because it's easy to just study while you're on the go. For my accelerated people, what I found useful are these. Especially for farm, they have like content maps for like every subject. Concept maps for like every subject. I suggest printing those out, filling one of those out before you make an individual card for each one, because at least you know what to focus on, what you need to remember for each unit that you're going through. And you can carry those with you as well. I mean, who wants to carry papers? But I mean, you got to do it sometimes because it's real. Another thing is, if you don't want to print out, waste all that paper, okay, write it out. What I did was, I get notebook paper sometimes because I wouldn't feel like printing all these out, wasting my ink. And I would just use different color pens, write like on one part, like adverse effects, medications, client education, nursing interventions, because that's really what you're going to need to know. You just need to know how this drug is going to affect that person and what you can do to make it not affect them that bad, or what you can teach them so that they don't, jack themselves up by mixing alcohol with a CNS depressant or something like that, Tip four. Okay, so if you're anything like me, mnemonics and songs, like making songs for stuff, will help you a lot. It makes it a little bit easier to remember that big chunk of information. I'm good for turning stuff into little songs, or looking up mnemonics on Pinterest, or even making my own mnemonics, because I have a dirty mind, so I tend to remember stuff better when it's like a little dirty. I would tell you guys my mnemonic for the cranial nerves, but I can't because, it may be younger viewers, but yeah, I'm gonna keep that to myself. But yeah, so just make it something relatable to you. That way it'll be easier to recall. Don't try to like just take that whole chunk of information and remember it all. Another thing I found useful is acting it out. So sometimes, like, I'm the person in the test that you'll sit there, like, I'll just sit there like, okay. Like, if the question is, how do you percuss? Do you percuss with with the palms of your fingers or the tips? So I'm the one that you'll sit there seeing at the desk, like, because I have to act it out. I need to see it. I'm more of a visual learner, so I need to picture it in my head. So that works for me. And then with the songs, it's like I love music, so if I'm sitting there like, oh, dun, dun, make it like turn it into a jingle, it's easier to recall for me rather than remembering all these random facts. Yeah. I find that the little goofy movements are helpful because it's like you can sit there and you can recall it and just remember the goofy, awkward crap that you were doing while you were remembering it, and it'll kind of bring it back to you. Tip 5. Have a study routine. Do not, and I mean do not, wait until the last minute to sit there and try to cram. And look at the pot calling the kettle black. I think that's how that saying goes, because that's me. I will sit there until the last minute and decide to study for a 16 chapter test the night before. Don't do that to yourself. It's really stressful. You're not going to remember everything you need to do, because I find that I would have probably done so much better on a lot of my exams if I like made a schedule, stuck to it, and actually studied throughout the week. Got to start on things a little bit early. Also, with your study routine, make sure it's a good location. Sometimes certain places you can't focus. I used to like to go to Panera Bread and anywhere but home, because I'd go to sleep or watch a show. Home studying just wasn't for me. It didn't happen for me. But if you could do it, all power to you if it makes you feel more comfortable. It's just too much temptation there. But make sure you have your snacks on deck, and make sure that it's a good aura. Okay, tip number 6. Make sure you take breaks. There's nothing worse than just sitting there for like a 5-hour study session and just going over and going over and going over and not getting up. Take it from me, it's going to get to a point where stuff's not sticking anymore, so it's going to be pointless studying. So, study for 2 hours, take a 30-minute break, relax your brain, just so that it just doesn't get too overwhelming for you. Tip 7, when you're reading and going over the stuff, read it out loud. I found that when you study like that, when you read it out loud and you're hearing it, it tends to help you remember it a little bit better rather than reading it in your head. Don't know the science behind that. Don't know if it is the science behind that, but it works for me. Like I said, they might not work for you, but it works for me, because just hearing my voice, like hearing it, is better than just, hearing it. Y'all know what I'm saying. Tip 8. Study buddies. There's nothing better than studying with friends. Especially if you're one of those people who have a bad attention span. When you're studying with friends, they keep you focused, they keep you working. One thing I would suggest with that though is make sure you go over this stuff on your own first. Know a little bit to bring to the table, and just use that time as time to clarify things that you didn't understand, because your classmate might understand it better than you. So I think that should be question time, because if you go into it knowing nothing, when you guys go on your little asides, it's wasting time that you could have been going over what you didn't know. So, yeah. Okay, and my last tip for you guys, with these nursing classes, y'all, try to link things together. Let me see if I can explain this without getting all tongue-tied and stuff. The thing is that these questions, they're not going to be knowledge-based for the most part. Like health assessment, that's knowledge-based, and well, that's the only knowledge-based one I've taken so far. You'll probably get a few knowledge-based questions in there, but a lot of these questions require you to think deeper. So I know people who would know everything A to Z. They'd be able to recite the whole book to me, but they'll go in and they'll fail a class, fail a test, because they didn't know how to apply what they knew. So Try to link these things together, guys. Put yourself in these situations. Like, you gotta get to working with it, because just knowing it, not gonna help. I'm not gonna lie to you. Also, try to look up with a lot of books. It comes with like these NCLEX style questions. Try to go over them if you have the time to. Try to do them. They really help. It shows you what to expect, like how you're gonna have to think. You can also Google NCLEX style questions. You can use any, like you can get one of the review books, like the NCLEX review books, and take it to like whatever class you're taking at the time. Go to that part and answer the questions for that before you go into the exam. There's a lot of books, like I know for one, our pharmacology book came with a study guide. By that, it has a lot of questions. Some you may see on your test. You never me though. But they have a lot of questions. You can try answering those, and it'll just show you like where to get your mind at, how you should be thinking. That's all I can suggest with that, because like I said, just knowing it don't cut it with this. Yeah. So guys, sorry it took so long for me to post this video. Like I said, school has been crazy. I'll get back to y'all with stories, my horror stories, because you know in nursing, every time you ask somebody, they don't never got good stories. They're always horror stories, but it's worth it at the end. But I hope that all my tips were helpful. These classes are really difficult. I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it for you. I'm not going to downplay them for you, because it's real. Y'all, it's real. So you just got to stay focused. You got to do what you got to do. If you don't do well on the first exam, do not freak yourself out. You just got to pick yourself up. That test is in the past. You got to keep it moving and make sure you pass the next one. Because if you keep focusing on the past, you'll mess yourself up for the present. These are difficult. Don't feel like you're dumb. Don't feel like you can't do it, because, you know, it just takes a lot of adjusting. A whole lot of adjusting. But I have faith in you guys. Stay calm. You got this. Bust butt. Do what you got to do. See you guys the next time. I hope these tips help. And as always, if you got any questions for me, leave a comment down below. I'll get back to it ASAP. Subscribe and like this video. And I'll be back with way more videos. I'm on break, y'all. Hey.